This is Joerg, and today I'm with Serena Savini, a coach. I want to introduce different coaches and coach profiles to show the diversity of coaching. So thanks, Serena, for having time and joining the show.
Thank you, it's my pleasure.
Serena, because it's all about you, let me just dive in with questions and then see where we go. So, my first question is let's start with you as a human. Who are you beyond titles and bios?
Thank you so much for with this question. It's not a usual question that you get. So my name is Serena, I'm Italian. I was born with disability and this had an impact on my life since when I was a child. I started my profession as human resources and I was always drawn to the possibility to support people and really help them to reach their potential. This was something that I was really passionate about even when I was doing the usual HR stuff in a big multinational. And so I started to learn how to become a counselor and how to get to learning and development and these kind of things. Then, 9 years ago, I had a bad accident at work that really changed my life because I was a top performer in my company. And after the accident, I became nothing for my company. I became a problem to solve, not a potential to grow. And this had a really big impact not only on my health, of course, because of the accident, but also on my self confidence, my well being, etc. And I was able only 4 years later to really go back to my career and rebuild my career almost from zero. And this led me to two things. The first one, a deeper understanding that a lot of people are experiencing something similar, meaning that they have a life changing experience that could be positive, like parenthood, or negative, like an illness or an accident. But for both of them, it's really difficult to go back to work and to redefine their identity as professionals. And the other thing is that I really became passionate about coaching because I saw the impact of coaching on myself and other people. And I understood that coaching is like my call or something that I'm really passionate about. And this is how I started my coaching journey.
Interesting, and you already covered, I think, two aspects of other questions I had. If I understand you correctly, the pivotal moment for you was your accident.
Yes, it was really a pivotal moment for me because I felt really alone while I was not alone, meaning that I had a lot of people around me that were experiencing something similar, maybe for different reason, but something similar. But I didn't have the courage to ask to anyone for support, and I felt really alone. And this made me realize that a lot of people are experiencing similar things, but they are all alone. I can give you an example. I worked in the same office with another person who just came back from maternity, and we were desk to desk. And she was experiencing something similar in the difficulties of coming back to work after becoming a mom. But we never talked about our challenges, even if they were similar. And this was crazy for me. And I decided to have a coach only 3 years after the accident. So, also, the need of a coach became clear only after a long journey of suffering, loneliness, and really struggling with, etc. Even if I knew from my HR profession that having a coach could be really beneficial.
Mm. That's an interesting aspect. Often we know, but we don't. Or it doesn't apply for us, right? We discount it for our own experience. You also mentioned that because of your disability, you were always drawn towards helping people. So looking back now, are there other early signs or patterns that hinted coaching might become part of your journey?
Yes, I spent a lot of time at the hospital as a child. And when you are a child, you are observing what is happening there. And of course, there was the aspect of adult children that were sick. But one aspect that is often underlooked is about the parents that needs to be there for their child or needs to take really difficult decisions. And again, often they are left alone. Or if there is a psychologist at the hospital, the psychologist is more for the child than for the parents. And unfortunately, sometimes it's really biased in a negative way towards parents, at least from my experience. Because, of course, the psychologist wants to do the best for the child, but it's a trauma for parents to have a sick child, and if we don't look at this trauma in a caring way, this can be really hard. And so I really became aware of the importance of having an external support to walk you through life, even if, of course, it's coaching. We cannot choose for our clients or we cannot direct our clients, but we can only serve our clients and in finding their way to deal with the situation. And every way is different and it's equally valuable if it's working for the people we are serving.
Yeah, that's a very important aspect, right? So what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you, and what works for you, not for me. So it's always individual and context specific. Thanks for sharing that. What is it about coaching that lights you up?
Really see the light inside the people unfolds. Really see the potential of the inner potential of people showing up and the surprise that people may experience when something that seems impossible for them became possible. And it's so beautiful to see that live, to experiencing that live, and um, really to see the possibility that we all have inside of us and exploring them and making a more informed decision about how to develop some of them, not develop others. This is really amazing for me. And I really like to see or to meet again my clients like 6 months after or 1 year after, not as part of the coaching practice, but just to meet them, see them on LinkedIn, see what they are doing without interfering so much. But I really like to see how their journey will continue after the coaching.
Wow. And while you were sharing, your light also lighted up. That's very nice to see. So, what values guide your work as a coach?
Two main ones. The first one is caring. I really want to create an environment that is really welcoming, not judgmental, and really caring for them. And creativity. I like to play with creativity and help them explore their own creativity. That, of course, as we said, can mean different things. It doesn't mean that they need to draw or they need to paint or sing. Creativity can be much broader than that. So I really like to have a caring approach and really find creative ways to explore the topic they are bringing.
So clarity and creativity. If you had to name your why, the deeper reason you do this work, what would it be?
This is a big question. So I will give you a selfish answer and a selfless answer. The selfish one
Okay.
is that if I'm able to serve clients that are in a similar position from where I were after the accident, I think this can become part of my own healing process because I can see myself in them. Of course, this is not influencing the coaching sessions, but you know that we are attracting clients that are mirroring our parts. So I think it's also part of my healing process. If I can share the selfless why, I think there is a big need in the world to really support people who are coming back to work. And this need is not really answered in general. There are legal things, there are maybe corporate programs, but what is missing is really the deep work that a coaching journey can do and can support the person. And I want also to raise the awareness for people who are experiencing something similar that they deserve to have this kind of opportunity to have coaching because sometimes, especially with illness or maternity or paternity, the impression or what society is telling us is that if you have an illness and you recovered, now it's done. You can go back to work and nothing has changed. And if you became a parent, okay, you became a parent, but this is done, so you can go back to work. And I want to be in the intersection of how can we really support these people to do this transition when society is saying this part of your life is finished and now you can start the new part of your life.
Yeah, that's a big one. A lot of unawareness what is going on inside of you, right? And then there's a lot of assumptions, pressure, and it goes both ways, right? So I can clearly see that. But there for sure are challenges, right? Both on your side and most likely on your client side. So what keeps you going when things get tough in your coaching journey?
The toughest part I feel is that my clients really want to be back fully as soon as possible because it's linked to their professional identity, etc. And also the company is requiring them to do that. Like the first week they come back, they really need to be top performers. Uh, and the coaching is really a slow process. And the challenge that I have is to make them understand that if they are rushing, they, it's more difficult to do the deep work that they potentially will benefit from. Another challenge is that there are different layers for them. Some people may expect only the more superficial level, like how can I communicate to my manager? How can I go back to be a top performer? What can I do to rewrite my CV if I want to change career? But there is a deeper level about the transformation that not everyone is ready to do. And so my challenge as a coach is really to stay with them, be present for them at the level they are, instead of pushing for different levels if they are not ready.
So be with what
Yes.
is. You already talked a lot about your background, what motivates you, and also about who you are serving, but I still want to go back to that. The people you feel most called to work with, who are they, and what are they navigating when they come to you?
I like to serve people who are coming back to work after a life changing experience. And when I say life changing experience, um, people who may think about big things like illness, maternity, as I said, but life changing experience can be also linked to little things that can have an impact, like a reorganization in the company, a change of role, a burnout. Of course, burnout is not a small thing, but I want to serve people that are experiencing before and after, even if this before and after is really small. I had one person coming to me saying that she was struggling with her manager, and after every meeting with her manager, she would feel really depressed and really lonely, etc. So I was supporting also her to manage that before the meeting and after the meeting. Yes, and career transition in general also, because they are really tough from an emotional side, and a lot of things are linked to self-confidence, imposter syndrome, or building your professional identity.
And how do your clients usually describe the transformation they experience from working with you?
This is a tough question. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know.
Okay. It's not a problem because sometimes people tell us, sometimes not. And transformation is always something very personal, right? And what we experience and how we describe it is very personal. And yet, and you have been describing your personal transformation already in many different aspects and ways since we started talking, right?
Often say that they feel empowered, even if I'm really struggling with this word. So, if I can decline this word in a different way, I think that they can see the potential that they have inside of themselves, and they are more free to choose for themselves instead of feeling that others are choosing for them.
Mm, which is very powerful. So why do you think your voice or approach resonates with the clients you serve?
I think it's because they can immediately feel that I care about them and I care about their journey. And I think this is resonating with them, especially during the first call. So I think trust is another part that is really working, because I'm able to be honest with them, meaning that sometimes they can come to me with some request, and I'm really honest and transparent in saying maybe I'm not the right coach for you, maybe other coaches are better for you. And this, in a strange way, create a really deeper level of trust, so they can decide if they want to continue with me, or if not, usually they are the ones who are referring other people to me. I think the first meeting with them is really crucial for me and also for them.
Mm. Yes, that's what this session is all about, the diversity of coaching, right? So, an understanding that what we have to offer, and that what we have to offer is not necessarily the right thing for everybody. So, a very good insight shared here, and maybe also a good transition to next question. So, when you look at your coaching practice, what does your coaching offer looks like today?
So I'm offering different things. For example, I'm offering a longer version of the coaching journey where the people really can take their time to go to the different stages, not of grief, but of coming back to work, like dealing with the present current situation, dealing with the past, dealing with the new professional identity, rebuilding their confidence, etc. So it's really a journey to do together. And I'm offering something that is shorter, that is around rebuilding their story or their career vision and reposition themselves in the new professional identity. But this is in general, but I have to say that every coaching journey is tailor made to the needs of the clients and it's really personalized. So I really like to co create with them the journey.
Is there an offering or piece of your work that feels especially close to your heart?
So I have this coaching journey that is about returnship, that is this longer version of the journey where you can really explore yourself in 360 degrees. That is really dear to my heart because it's where I really can see the transformation that they are experiencing, and I really can see that the more we work together, the more they will become themselves the main character of their journey instead of someone who is participating to the journey. And this is really beautiful.
I can see your face is sparkling again. It's really lovely to see. So you're so passionate about it. Are there any ripple effects you hope to create through your coaching? So basically, what kind of effects does it have on your clients' lives and beyond?
So I want to create more awareness around this topic, and I want companies to start think that this topic is equally important than other topics. I want to have an effect on underlining the importance of welcoming back people. And for clients, I hope that they will feel really the protagonist of their own story and their ability to rewrite their story in terms that are really true to themselves. And I hope this can have a rippling effect on also people around them.
Thank you. And if everything is perfectly aligned, what would your coaching practice look like in a few years?
I would like to work more with companies. I feel there is a big need, but this need is still hidden. And yes, after the coaching, create a community where people can really support each other beside the coaching.
Yeah, so for companies to find you, we will have the information later, but I can clearly see that there is a need. And there is a lot of programs, as you mentioned, but that's normally dealing with the situation when you are ill or when you are mentally challenged, but not necessarily after you're coming back. I personally have never seen anything like that.
There are some programs like this, but the tricky part is that they are forced, meaning that also the person coming back needs to be part of the program and needs to share instead of really working on the environment more than on the person. So, how can the colleagues create a welcoming environment? How can the manager create a welcoming environment? How things has changed, and how the relationship can have an impact on the mental well-being of the person who is coming back, but also how this mental well-being is really about the connection with everyone.
I see. Makes sense, and I can see this different perspective. If someone feels drawn to coaching but isn't sure, What would let them know?
I would suggest to talk with a coach. There are a lot of discovery sessions for free, or to participate to the Morphosis coaching session about the power of coaching. And I'm saying this because I know how difficult it is to take the first step, and it's a scary move sometimes, and you really want to do the right choice and find the right person. And coaching can be confusing for people who are not really familiar. So I would suggest to talk with a coach, or maybe more than one, and pay really attention on how you feel, what are you experiencing, where do you feel more safe, what are your needs, even if maybe you are really confused about your needs, but what are the needs that are emerging during the session. And get closer to the coaching community. I mentioned Morphosis, but of course you can decide about other coaching communities. At least start to have some interest about having a coach.
Hmm. That's a good insight. And you mentioned from the very beginning that you were drawn to help people because of your background. You had this accident at work and it led you to become a coach. What would you say to other people who are wondering what they can do with their life experience and don't feel ready or not enough to become a coach?
So I also didn't felt ready and not good enough for sure. I said to myself to start doing the course for myself, without the idea, oh, I need to become a coach, etc. But start to do the course as a learning journey for yourself, because having coaching knowledge and expertise and practice coaching is really powerful for everyone, even if they don't want to become a coach in the end. And then during the journey of learning about coaching, I'm sure they will become passionate, they will start to reflect on uh, community or what niche they can serve. They will start to do some coaching session themselves, and they will become really more confident in becoming a real coach. Yes, I really understand why it's a big step for people to say, oh, I want to become a coach. So my suggestion is to start saying, I want to learn about coaching, and then I will decide.
The energy in the room and your facial expression today made it clear for me that you don't regret to have taken that step
No,
and
no.
ended up on this side of the road.
Yeah, and maybe if we can share something funny about that I did the coaching course at night because the time zone at the time didn't match. And I was so passionate about that it was fine for me to wake up at 2 a.m. and to start the coaching course. Even if I was not able to say to myself that I was really passionate about coaching, I was still saying to myself, oh, I don't know. But I spent many days waking up at 2 a.m. to do the course and be present, etc. So you can do it if you want.
Thanks for sharing. So, where can people find you and follow your work and learn more about
Yes,
you?
so I have a website that is imback.work. You can follow me on LinkedIn, and I have also a podcast about interviewing people who are coming back to work that is called I'm Back.
Okay, and we will have the information in the show notes so everybody can find you. So you have a website, you have a podcast, and you have a LinkedIn profile. Okay, Serena, before we close, I would like to fire some rapid questions to you, which I would like you to answer briefly or in one sentence. Coaching is
My call.
the one thing I want my clients to know is
I care about them.
I believe we all have the power to.
Transform.
If I could whisper one thing to my past self, it would be.
Believe in yourself.
Thank you, Serena. That was a great conversation. Thanks for your time and having you here. I wish you all the best with your coaching practice, and I can feel that you make a big impact on your clients' lives and their surroundings. Thank you for being here and being open.
Thank you so much, Joerg, for inviting me.
Bye bye.